Welcome to the Painter Marketing Mastermind podcast, a show created to help painting company owners build a thriving painting business that does well over $1 million in annual revenue. I'm your host, Brandon Pierpont, founder of Painter Marketing Pros and creator of the popular PCA educational series, Learn, Do, Grow, Marketing for Painters. In each episode, I'll be sharing proven tips, strategies, and processes from leading experts in the industry on how they found success in their painting business. We will be interviewing owners of the most successful painting companies in North America and learning from their experiences. On this episode of the Painter Marketing Mastermind podcast, we host guests Juan Vasquez and Jose Hernandez. Juan and Jose are co-owners of Illusions Painting, a high-end residential painting company based in Monterey, California, that currently does over $2 million in annual revenue. Juan and Jose have seen tremendous growth over the last 3 years, and they directly attribute that to their first experience at the PCA Expo in 2018. The partners discuss how a willingness to embrace new challenges has been key to their business growth, and they talk about some big plans they have to help other Hispanic painting company owners find similar success moving forward. If you want to learn more about the topics we discussed in this podcast and how you can use them to grow your painting business, visit paintermarketingpros.com/podcast for free training, as well as the ability to schedule a personalized strategy session for your painting company. Again, that URL is paintermarketingpros.com/podcast. Juan, Jose, thank you for agreeing to be on the Painter Marketing Mastermind podcast.
Hey, Brandon, thank you so much for having us, man.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So I guess tell us a little bit about Illusions Painting. What do you guys do? Where are you based?
Okay, so Illusions Painting, we are out of Monterey, California, so about Central Coast in California. We are a family, model company. There's
Basically, Illusions started back in 2007. That's when Illusions was founded, and we mostly do high-end residential work.
Okay, so you guys do high-end residential, any commercial?
No,
we've done a couple, and only for
it's actually our clients.
Our clients that will
they have their offices, and that's about it. But
yeah, not much commercial.
So it'll be clients that you've done their homes and they have an office and they want you to do it.
Like correct. That. And then we have a good relationship and they want someone they can trust, and that's when we will do them. But,
awesome.
Yeah.
And what was your guys' revenue last year, 2021?
It was just over $2 million.
Okay. Just over 2 million. And when you're doing high-end residential, is this residential repaint, new construction? What is that?
So
I would say an 80-20, right?
80% probably new construction, 20% probably remodel.
Okay. So you guys are doing 80% new construction, residential, 20% remodel, repaint.
That's correct.
And then a little bit of commercial for clients that you already have.
Yeah, correct.
Got it. All right. So are you both co-owners?
Yes.
Yes, we both are.
Got it. So Juan, you had mentioned that you started this company yourself back in 2007, and then I think something changed or something magical happened 3 years ago. I don't know. There was some X factor, and the company kind of took off. What happened?
Well, I mean, Jose's has been my best friend since we were in high school, right?
Oh, wow.
So we started painting by about the same time, and we both worked for the same companies, two companies in the past, a commercial company and a residential company. And so from there, I took off and I started the business in 2007, and he stayed behind. And so I worked for about, I would say 10 years or so on my own. And then there was always the talk of like, and we always talked about back in high school, right? To own a business. So we own a business together. And somehow we talked about it about 3-4 years ago. And we talked. And then we found PC8. And he became a partner. And then, God, I can't tell you. It's just been a really great, crazy roller coaster for us. A good one, though.
Great run, yeah.
Yeah, Jose, you took the leap. You joined.
Yes. Yeah, to join. Yes, exactly. And again, he mentioned PCA. I think if it wouldn't been for the one time that we went, and I believe it was in 2018, the first time that we went to Galveston, I didn't want to go. We were in the conversation of joining the business, partnering up with Illusions, and going to an expo, it wasn't like my thing at the moment. I'm like, no, like I need to work, like I had that mentality of like I need to work and I need to keep on working, so I can make my bill, pay my bills, and somehow he goes like, you know what? Don't worry, Illusion, you're gonna be part of Illusions. Illusion is gonna cover, it's gonna cover this expense, and so let's just go, and he goes like, there's nothing to lose, probably a lot to gain.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was a game changer, like not just hearing it from him, but then from the rest at PCA, meeting, like Nick Slavik, I seen the coffee cup over there, the coffee mug, like meeting all of these.
I'm gonna change my coffee mug here.
No, hey, he's a genius, he's right there with her. He's not.
I was talking from the Ask a Painter Live, went to retreat. Nick gave away a bunch of coffee mugs, and I don't, Nick's a humble guy, so I don't want to say it's because he's arrogant, but he did paste his face on. It's a sticker, so it didn't come that way. He put a sticker with his face on every single coffee mug. So I'm just gonna leave it at that.
It's working for him, man. Let me tell you. That's what
we're talking about him.
We're trying to find what works for us,
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of what has happened to us, the last few years. So yeah, it's amazing, man. It's tough, challenging, but it's really, really good.
So at the risk, most of our listeners are already PCA members, or at least subscribe to Overdrive, but some are not, because we release this podcast on all streaming platforms and get a fair amount of views. So at the risk of sounding like I'm overly plugging the PCA, because I really do very much believe in the value of it, I guess, can you guys talk? And this podcast will be released after the expo, but for us all sitting right here, the expo is next week, and we're all going to be meeting in Orlando. So can you speak a little bit to, what happened at that first expo in 2018? What kind of changes were implemented? How did that really help your business?
God, so first time we went to PCA, I think we were, I think my total revenue was like 480,000. So I remember, we didn't know what to expect. So we show up to this big expo. We sit down in some of the tables, the round tables, and they're talking about there's $1 million, there's how to achieve $5 million, and there's all these $1 million, and we're like, holy crap, like
swimming in the deep end, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, dude, like I think we're out of place.
The first thing in my head is like, oh, we don't belong here. Like, I mean, I'm just doing, this is my third year going on my own, and about to join, partnering up with Juan on Illusions. And I'm like, I'm just doing 100,000 in revenue, and I'm like, I don't think we belong here, to be honest. And that's why when we talk about bringing it to the Hispanic community, a lot of these people don't know that there is resources, and basically this is our place, for us contractors. It's not because I had that mentality personally. I had that mentality where like I don't belong here. Like I just belong on the field and keep working and keep getting the next job and keep working and keep doing it, over and over and over and over. Didn't know much about the business side of the trade.
Yeah.
I want to. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was just gonna say I want to dive into that, Jose, because that's something that I've seen a lot, and we actually even have customers who call painting company partners of Painter Marketing Pros that came in with that mentality, that they talked with us and they saw what we do and who we work with, and they're, oh, well, we don't belong with you, or we're not big enough for that, and or we don't go to the expo. I mean, I've even talked with companies that are over $1 million, and they think that they're not big enough to go to the expo or to join the PCA or do these things. And for me personally, I can't really understand that mindset of not embracing that challenge, but a lot of people have it in this industry. So I'd love to kind of hear more about how you faced it, and maybe it was sort of accidental. Maybe you showed up and you didn't realize you were gonna feel that way. So you got dragged to it. But what did you guys do to kind of break through that? If there are people out there listening who feel that way, who feel like, well, no, I'm never going to get there. I'm not ready for that. What do you recommend?
I think it helps a lot to surround with like-minded people. Or always, like we always talk about how, again, I'm gonna bring up Nick Slavic's name again. Meeting some of these great people that is gonna, humble people, great people that is gonna make you believe in yourself. Because sometimes people see something in us that we don't see it. And I mean, and we see the same with some other painting contractors around the area. We try to, invite them and try to, bring him into PCA, and we're like, just go try it, one event, go try it, and you'll see the difference. You'll see how much you can learn. So I think sometimes what it takes is it's finding the right person that is gonna push you there. Like this guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone needs to find their Juan.
And he goes like, he's like, come on, man. He's like, I don't want to go alone. He's like, I never been there neither. So it's like, why
Guilt
not go
trip.
together? And I'm like, oh, okay,
let me tell you something. We come from a very humble and poor community, and so we never really got a chance to explore or go anywhere out of our state, California. So we haven't done a lot of that. So the whole fact of just us being in a new place and exploring something new, it was like, oh, it's exciting. And then what's his name? Josh. He's from Josh.
He's from San Fernando Valley, I
San
believe.
Fernando Valley, and I can't remember. It's from
Albright.
Albright Painting, I think.
Yep.
Yes. So Sharon Williams, our local Sharon Williams, took me to I've always been close to our sales reps. And so he took us down to see him talk about, how he was able to grow his business and stuff in a very small area here. And so he went and brought me there. And that's when I heard about PCA. He goes, back in these days, I joined the PCA and it really helped me like grow my business. And I was like, okay, well, I guess PCA it is, So
yeah,
I came back home and I told this guy, and then he's like, oh man, we don't have any money. And I'm like, yeah, we don't, and it's very hard to go, put $3,000-$4,000 on a trip when you don't have it, and then it's like, dude,
it's a leap of faith for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And so I told him, I'm like, hey, we talked about like being different in the area. Like, we don't want to be another painter because we live in a small area, but there's such an abundance of work. There's a big golf community. There's a lot of international people coming into the area. It's a very, very expensive area. So we didn't want to be just like the other painter next to us.
Yes.
So we needed something to set us apart. And by coming and listen to you guys and listen to like Nick Mays, Nick Slavic, what's the guy from the podcast? Chris Berry, like from it's just
Idaho painter.
Yeah, it's just all these guys that like had something unique going that we're like, wow, okay, so how do they do it?
Yeah.
So we just started talking to more people, and then got closer to some of the local like in Oregon, they have a chapter.
Yeah.
So we started going.
Joel Humber.
Yeah, Hamburger. He's the one that kind of took us under his wing, and hey man, I mean, we're here. We're still learning. That's what we're doing. This is so exciting because this is something new, and it gives us a whole new life to something new. So
that's great. Yeah, that's really great to hear. So you guys went to the PCA, took a leap of faith, spent money, invested money. The difference between spending and investing, in my opinion, invested money that you didn't really have, at least not comfortably. And you took a bit of a gamble because you saw what worked for other people. And so you decided to take that risk. I think that's great. Now, when you went and you learned these lessons and you kind of started getting involved with the local chapter and had a mentor there, I guess, what are some of the things that you implemented? Like what did you actually change?
So
I know it's a tough question.
God. so much. We completely, we didn't have anyone in the office. So for us, it's like we did everything. So then now we have our Patty here, which is our angel here in the office and takes care of a lot of things and puts up with a lot of stuff with us, right? But then just learning and understanding how to run a business properly. Like, okay, we are the painters, but now we have to take a process of like from Nick programs, how to implement programs. Like there's a reason for everything. And so that's what we started doing. Every time we came back, the girls in the office, they'd be like, okay, now what?
What do you guys have this time?
Yeah, another big overhaul of some sort.
And we did. Honestly, in the last 3 years, I think we've done more than I did in over 10 years, as far as like just implementing things. We created our handbook. We're trying to get a lot more organized. It's just so much. But programs, I think, is one of the biggest ones.
Right?
Yeah.
No, definitely.
So it sounds like you largely systematized your business and you stopped doing all the administrative work yourself and kind of took the plunge and hired someone to help you handle all that back office stuff.
That's exactly right. And so
Yeah.
now we're looking to find a project manager so it can leave us free from being more the projects and be able to focus more on what we want to improve more and innovate. And one of our biggest things is like we always having something new and it's always having some kind of a challenge. And so we want to keep doing that. This is kind of like what really, distinguish us in the area. So we want to keep doing that. So
when you implemented these systems and hired Patty, what did that free you up to do? Well, let me backtrack a little bit. So you guys are primarily working as a subcontractor, right? To general contractors doing new construction.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a little bit different from most of the people that we've had on the show. So I'm happy about that.
Okay.
Now, when you freed up, I have my thoughts about what this probably did for you, but I guess what did it allow you to do to go from 480 to now 3 years later, over 2 million?
Well, the ability to, just go on for more work. So basically the way they will call us and say, I have this project coming up. Okay. So they'll send us plans, they'll send us blueprints, we'll do a walk on the jobs. So before, when I needed to do the paperwork, when we needed to do the actual painting, when we needed to do all this, you're limited to how much time you can take off to do these new projects and so on, right? So by having the proper help here in the office and the proper help at the job site, it has freed me to go do that. And Jose kind of oversee more of the
on the field, basically.
On the field, problems. And then I'm more in the office making sure that the bids are sent out, that are, basically that we keep in front of the other people. Yeah.
Okay. So one of the themes that we've seen in this show, a lot of owners, especially seeing rapid growth like you guys just had over the last few years, is a sales oriented mindset. And it sounds like that's really what it did for you guys, was rather than, all right, you go out and you send a bid and you fill out all this paperwork and you get hung up in one or two or a couple, you can keep going and going and going, because now you can pass off that paperwork and all that other stuff to your angel Patty.
Yeah, exactly. And keep in mind that, a lot of this has been coming we've been learning as we go. So we've had some challenges where we lose money on some jobs because we're like, we see an opportunity and we want to go for it, but then we have everything else on top of us. And it creates a dynamic, where we're like, oh God, what did I get ourselves into? But then, then we realize, hey guys, we did this already. We have the data, we have this, and they're like, oh, okay, so it's not so bad. So now it's helping build that. So that's the excitement part of it, I think. Yeah. I think if you're gonna see that rapid growth and want that rapid growth, you have to be comfortable with the changes and the fact, almost getting comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're always going to be you're always going to be in a new place. You're just always going to be in a new place. Yeah, no, comfort zone, I think, is the killer for every business, right? I mean, you get comfortable and like, you're like, yeah, no rush.
Becomes a
I-
lifestyle business versus something you maybe want to try to grow a little more seriously.
No, for us, I think we really like what we see in PCA.
Mhm.
And we talk about PCA because this is the only, the only association we've ever belonged to, but it's done so much for our business, for ours personally, that I mean, it's a big part of us. It's really what helped our business. We had the ideas, but now we have the resources, and that's really what helped us take it to the next step. And for us, this is only a stepping stone. We really want to learn, keep doing this. We want to bring people. We've met some guys in the area who really have, like, we see that spark that we had, and we want to bring them along. Like, hey,
That's
man, let's
great.
go. Yeah, and then at the same stage where we we're like, they're scared, and we already.
They go like, I can't afford it. I'm too busy. And I'm like, yes, you're investing. Just figure that you're gonna invest in your business. It's not an expense. Again, you're investing, and,
Yep.
and down the road you're gonna see, the fruits.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that abundance versus scarcity mindset,
Right.
growth-oriented mindset. So you guys went again, kind of focusing on the growth trajectory here. You went from 500,000 over 2 million. You passed the kind of valley of death, right? Around 750, a million.
Oh yeah.
What were the biggest struggles that you guys endured during that growth?
Cash flow.
Cash flow probably.
Cash flow. Okay.
Yeah.
Even okay, and that's primarily probably because you guys were working with general contractors.
Yes.
So a lot of our contracts are is a 30-day net. So basically, you invoice once you're done with the job, but then you have 30 days to get paid. And so when you have around 20 guys, that hurts. If you don't have a big bank account, then it's tough. So there was days where it was very stressful, like just trying to make payroll, and but then we're working with the same ways of like, how can we improve our accounting system? So we were able to have a better what are the gay like a bigger bank account. We got ourselves a credit line, a business credit line, and so just struggle by struggle kind of took us over the threshold, and then the next threshold, and so that's what we endure most of the time at that point.
Yeah. And now, are you guys using employees yourselves or subcontractors? What's your employee model?
Employees.
Employees. So you guys have 20 employees plus or
Right
minus?
now it's around 20 guys,
Yeah,
yes.
I guess.
On the
Nice.
field.
And that's 20 on the field, and then we have
The girls at the office.
two assistants in the office, and us two here.
And what is your goal? So 10 years from now, what's the goal? You must have a goal.
We have a couple.
I wanna be fishing and
Retire.
Right?
Right. Jose wants to retire.
Freedom.
Freedom.
See, I'm in the other hand, I'm a little more ambitious. So I
World domination.
Huh?
World domination, maybe, for Juan. No.
Maybe, right? No, I think we want to have a couple, like we've worked on different finishes, so we want to have a couple departments in the company, and then 30 to 40 employees. But we really want to have it to where we have a system. And one thing that I've heard from listening to the PCA and everyone is having a franchise sort of business, a model. So basically that it runs on its own and doesn't require us to be there every day like every other painter that I know. And so that's what we're working towards that. So we want to be part of it, but we want the business to work without us being present. I don't know if that makes sense.
So you guys want to ultimately create your own franchise?
Not necessarily. I just want to be able to free ourselves to do other things that we love to do.
Sure.
And that's kind of the whole deal.
Potentially other type of businesses as well. So.
Yeah, we've started a couple other ones, and we just really want to grow as a person. And I think that creating this in the business, we really believe that is doable. So that's what we're working course. It's hard, let me tell you. It's hard
Yeah.
because if you're not there, the quality sometimes is not the same. And but we're really cheering for it.
So I think I've mentioned this in another podcast, but I'll mention it again. I'm a big believer, not in everything he says, but in his mindset of Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh yeah.
And he has a definition of business ownership, of true business ownership, that I would say is pretty relentless. And I really like it. It is a high bar. To own a business. So I've never owned a business. When you factor this in, to own a business, you need to be able to walk away from that business and not be engaged for a year, come back, and it's better than when you left it. Then you own a business. Until then, you own a job.
And that's what we've been, like I said, after hearing from everyone here, reading some of these books, that's the ultimate goal. And it is doable. You just got to change
Absolutely
everything
doable.
that you know. Everything that you know, you have to change.
You just
Because
have to do a 180. Everything you think, you just.
Yep.
Exactly. And,
I don't know why everyone doesn't do it.
but don't you agree that that's kind of the excitement of it? We go back to the same thing. You get in that comfort zone where you're like, everything's running good. And then you're like, honey, I don't have to get up today. But when you have something in the back of your mind, you're like, oh no, I'm getting up today. Like, honestly, to come and sit here for you. I was awake at 4 a.m. and that doesn't happen to me. Okay. I was like up and I'm like, I can't wait. It's just the excitement, it's something new, something exciting. And so we've been both talking about this and we feel it, we love it. We could be painting or doing proposals, but this is exciting.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys making the time. For sure. This is really valuable.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys had mentioned that, you've found a lot of value in the PCA, and you guys are from Mexico originally. Is that correct?
That's correct.
From Mexico originally. You guys are Spanish speaking, and that there are a lot of painters and painting company owners out there who are Spanish speaking and maybe not even fluent in English, who are not really tied in with the PCA and don't necessarily feel that they have the support and the resources that you guys have been able to find. And Jose, I think you had even said that they might feel like they don't belong there, or that's not for them, and that you guys want to make it your mission to kind of extend the PCA community to more Hispanic painting company owners. Is that right?
That's right.
So can you talk to that?
I'm sorry?
Can you just talk a little more about that? I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, at least like I said, I always speak from for myself. I said some people or some painting contractors, they think the language barrier, like our culture, again, we don't belong here. Oh, I can't go to those places. I can't afford it. So we wanna how do you say we wanna embrace it and emphasize how important it is to invest in their business. And again, I had that mentality, just like them, where like I have to work. I have to work and I have to keep working, because if I don't work today, then I don't have any work tomorrow. Or if I don't make my money today, I don't have my money tomorrow. That mentality. So just kind of trying to lead them to the pathway and say, this is doable. I mean, you guys think we're doing something good, you can do it too. I mean, we see it in you guys. I mean, we see, like, Juan earlier mentioned how we see some of these painting contractors, and we're like, we see something in you that you probably don't know you have it, but we see it and we see ourselves there. I mean, at some point we were there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's great. And I mentioned to you guys, we have a lot of people like that who actually come to Painter Marketing Pros and then kind of have that mentality, just, oh, I don't belong, or I can't invest that in the business, or a day-to-day focus. And I think it is a true problem, a true mind block of sorts.
Yeah, we've I think one of the PCAs we were talking about, I think it's a couple of years ago, but we were talking about like the millenniums and because how things have changed, like us just having these conversations over a video. I mean, we didn't grow up with this stuff, and so now we're talking about how the millenniums are doing and how technology is changing, how a lot of it is over the computers, over a chat room. And so if you want to improve your business, you got to understand that you got to be up, up to the front of what's going on. Because if you get behind and you know what's going on, then that's how your business gets behind. And so when it comes to that point, a lot of our, the guys that we're talking about, Hispanic guys, really don't have this understanding. Though they're really like, what is it gonna do to me? Like, go sit in front of a bunch of guys where I'm not making money, I'm paying for it. What is that gonna do for me? And they don't understand that, you might just take the one little golden nugget that's gonna come and change something in your business. And as soon as that happens, it changes your mind. The minute you change one thing, you create. So if you have an issue in your company and you fix that issue, that's gonna sell you. From that, you're gonna be like, okay, what else can I fix? What else can I improve? And that's kind of what we want to be. And Julie, I can't remember her last name. She's the one who's a PCA social. And she was the one that has approached us about that. And, we really found that interesting.
Yeah. I think that's great. I think it's that shift from being more of a painter or an operator to kind of thinking like a business owner and working on rather than being stuck in your business or kind of being unable. There's always going to be excuses. There's always going to be a cash crunch. There's always going to be this until there's not. And you have to make the decision to take that leap, I think, at some point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And so for us, having two guys here who can really bounce back ideas and, we really talked very heavily about like joining together because, partnerships are always tough and especially in business. And, but, thankfully we've been able to share something that's very unique. I have a certain passion and he has a passion, but at the end of the day, we both want the same ultimate thing. And that's what's helped us, for him say, I got this here, and then meet in the middle and just keep working. So that's what we want to show, or at least bring to us. How do we went from not knowing what we were doing to about 3 years, really understanding more about it and just willing to learn on a constant basis.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because it reminds me of one of our more recent guests, Tony Bisnardo of Old World Painting, and he founded his company with his friend from college, Kent, and you guys were friends in high school, right? So let's kind of walk through how that changed when Jose came on board. Were there any issues, and what recommendations do you have for partnerships?
Honestly, I think it's every person is different and every relationship is different. You got to understand that we have our differences. There's going to be times where the stress hits and we're like, I can't take this no more, right? But it's the understanding of the overall purpose that we have and the respect that we have for each other, I think, that really takes us to that level. There are people who are driven by money and material, and those, I think, believe that they will have a bigger issue in business. For us, we love what we do and we want to achieve a legacy, not so much money, but for us, it's the legacy that we are going to build something very unique. And we both share that passion. And I think that really, that's what helps us. So if you feel that you have that with someone else, try it. You can put a trial of like a year, and if it works out, works out. If not, you move on, but you got to try it. I think that's the biggest thing. Try it, and then time will tell.
Yeah. So Juan, most painting company owners sort of own it solo, or they own it with their wife, and maybe the wife's part-time, or however that works. There are not a lot of partnerships like this, and obviously it's going to come with its challenges,
of course.
But did you find that it was a relief in way? Were you able to not worry about so many things, or what were some of the benefits of it?
Well, I mean, I always said you're limited to how much you can do on your own. And so I've always been a big believer in finding the right person to do the right job. I can't do everything, and I don't want to learn how to do everything, because then, you might know everything, but you're not going to be good at anything. And so for me, it was finding the right person, the right mindset for the right project in the business. One of the reasons I left my old boss was because I didn't want to be a painter no more. So I approached him and said, hey, is there anything else I can do in your business? And he goes, no, I just need painters. So I said, I gotta go. So, so for me, I want to embrace that. So in our company, I want to make sure that if one of my guys wants to inspire to do something else, I want to give him that opportunity, because it's only going to make me grow. And
Yeah.
I'm going to bring more value to this person. And by having Jose here and having Patty and having Isabel, I mean, we created a team where, like, God, I mean, if I'm not here, they'll attack everything else. So, I mean, you create, instead of having this little ball, now you have this massive, ball where, like, a team that just creates something unique. So I guess that really what drives us here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really powerful. Do you want all of a small pie or less maybe of a much bigger pie?
When we first, one of the first books, I still don't read. I do audiobooks, right? So
Okay.
I listen to them, right?
Yeah.
And one of the first books that through PCA they mentioned to us is Gerber.
Michael
Gerber's
the E-Myth.
E-Myth.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pretty sure you've read it, right?
Yep. Yeah. Read the E-Myth Revisited, I think 3 times now.
Yes.
Same here with us. That was the first book that I ever read or listened to, right? And it's how he talks about, like, working on your business, not in your business. Many times I did these charts where I put my name on the top and then all the lower things on the bottom, and I'm like, where's your name? I'm on every
single
thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to be the owner, the president, and so
you're
all
the
these
painter, estimator, everything.
so it's hard to say, everything that we've learned in such a small amount of time, and having that help from everyone else has made it so much easier. And I guess it's more the mentality. If you don't have the mentality, you can't. If you can't trust someone else, then it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I love that. I think success starts in your mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to see it. You have to see it to believe it, right?
Yeah. That's entrepreneurs. They see a kingdom where other people see nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's a lot of headaches with it sometimes, but
yeah,
but they're worth it.
So what's going the best with your company right now? What would you guys say you're just knocking it out of the park?
Well, I think one thing, how it started, like when we started growing the business, and we talked earlier about cash flow. So that was my issue. I was like, Juan, there's this contractor, there is this contractor that we know, local contractor that we know. He's giving us this job, but this is the but. Can we get to it? And he goes like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, no, wait. I said, wait. It's like, we don't have the manpower, okay, one, and we don't have the money, to take on one of these jobs. So that was him. He's like, you get the job, I'll figure the rest. And I'm like, okay. So, that was one thing that,
That's kind of been our motto.
It started, right? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I can take on this job. Like, yeah, but it needs to be done by this date. I'm like, yeah, we got it. So somehow we made it happen. We got a crew together. We added more guys to our crew, and we got the job. And then I get another phone call. We're like, oh, we have this job, but it needs to start by this date. And it's a decent sized project. And I'm like, Juan. So this other contractor is giving us this job, but again, we don't have the manpower. We don't even have the equipment. No, we don't have we don't have the manpower. We don't have the equipment and cash flow, right? And he go like, you know what? I don't know how we're gonna do it, but let's do it. Let's take on this job.
I love it.
So I think that was one thing, and then from there, it kind of, again, it's a small area. It kind of the boys started, spreading. We're like, oh, you want somebody to take on something like this, to do quality and do it professionally
with big value.
And it's like, oh, these are the guys that you're gonna call. You have to call Illusion. Like around here, there is no other company around that can do this kind of work and deliver the quality. And, you know, again, it all started with that. So I think that's,
So I guess what really right now, every time we did something a few years, 2-3 years ago, my mind was always probably, it's always, my mind's always a couple of years ahead of me, because I'm already thinking how we're
Visionary.
gonna do this. Exactly. So we just had this conversation a couple of days ago. He doesn't even remember, but we're stressing because we just got awarded some of probably our biggest job we've ever had.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And then we have another big jobs and some stressful jobs. And I was just telling them, I'm like, hey man, listen, just how did we do this 2-3 years ago? We didn't have the resources, we didn't have the manpower, we didn't have the cash flow. I'm like, right now we have it. We, just like I think in all over the country, we just short on help. I mean, help is, if we dive into that one, that's 2 hours of talking, right? But we have all these things. So now that's where he goes, oh, okay, well, it is true now. Like we've been working towards this. So now I guess what is helping for us is all this footwork that we've done for this last, 3 years, to where we're secure that we have enough cash, we're secure that we have, enough resources, that we have enough tools and, and equipment. And the guys, we've been able to create a good system to where like they're more organized.
Yeah.
As before we were not. So we can do a lot more with less guys now because of everything that we've done. So I guess that's what's working for us. And the fact that we're always bringing something new. So there's, we have this little motto here that's like, if you have a challenge, bring it over. We want it.
we want it. Yeah.
If you want someone to paint your walls, we're probably not the right guys, so
Yeah.
and that's really helped us. So I guess it's positioning ourselves in that place.
I love it. You guys are willing to build the airplane on the way down. Very
Yes,
much.
sir. I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's their comfort zone doesn't really work for me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't sound like it. I love it. So that definitely superpower, super strength of your guys. Is there anything right now that is a challenge that you guys are trying to work through, trying to figure out?
Guys,
I've been trying to, again, like we get these jobs and we're like, they know like, well, I think you guys can take on this job, or this job is basically for you guys, we need you guys to start working on some samples. And we're already thinking ahead and like, well, we don't have the manpower, we have all of these jobs that need to get done. And, if they're going to give us this other job, like that's a huge job. And it's going to take, another crew. So
I think that upscaling in general, I'm seeing that our biggest challenge is going to get to the 5 mil. Like he doesn't think that we're going to get there, but we are going to get there. It's Tom Reberg, right?
Tom River, yes.
You know Tom?
Contractor fight.
I don't know, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the first things, my first podcast, webinar I had was with him. And I always remember this because his question was like, what do you want out of your business? What is the number one thing? And remember, this is 3 years ago. We were like less than $500,000. And I told him, I responded, I was like, I want to make $1 million in the business. I want to gross $1 million. And he was like, okay, why do you want to do that? I'm like, I don't know. I think it just sounds cool,
Pretty number. It's a cool
right?
number.
Yeah, it's $1 million. So, he goes and asks everyone else. He's like, I'll come back to you. So he comes back to me and he's like, okay, Juan, what do you want the number? I'm more like, I don't know. It just sounds cool. He was like, okay, so let me ask you this. What are you going to do once you reach that number? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, my advice to you is know that first. And then that $1 million is going to come and you will never see it. I never saw it. I never saw, we passed that mark before we even recognized we did. And so, but what I'm getting at is like, we've learned to be prepared. So we're really preparing ourselves to grow. And taking all the measurements, we'll take all the hits as we need to, but we're growing, and that really sets us apart, and that really puts us in a place we want to be, because we are willing to take the punches. but learn with it too, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that part is key. I think the idea of learning, I seems like daily I pay a stupid tax, and it's always expensive, but it's worth it if I learn. When it's not worth it, it's not really a stupid tax if you just keep doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, so can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So do you have do you do painting?
I do not do painting.
Okay. So Amanda, how does your podcast come to life? How does it start?
How did it start? How did we get here? Yeah. So my my background, I ran an auto detail business, learned digital marketing that way, got into it.
Okay.
Yeah, founded a generalist agency, worked with companies all across the US, different industries, a lot of home services, a lot of painting companies, and then found a lot of success with painting companies. It's also just a large underserved niche. So that was how Painter Marketing Pros was born. And then we are marketing partners of the PCA. We ran a webinar series last year throughout 2021 called Learn to Grow Marketing for Painters. And it was really all about teaching different marketing topics through a workshop style and podcast and everything. And we saw a lot of success with the podcast, and it really took off. So then I worked with the PCA on coming up with this sort of vision of worked with Chad over there of coming up with this Painter Marketing Mastermind podcast of what do we think would resonate with subscribers of Overdrive, because that's a big thing that they're pushing right now. It is really Overdrive subscription and PCA growth. And the PCA has seen tremendous growth over the last 18 months, and they have really big visions for the next 5 years. And so this is kind of tied in with that of sort of, I guess, bringing more education and kind of taking, okay, what's working for the most successful painting company owners in the US and Canada, and let's actually give that information from their mouths, right, to other painting company owners and even to other successful painting company owners. Because like I said, I just went to Nick Slavic's Ask a Painter live winter retreat, and a lot of the, almost all of the painting company owners there are doing several million or more, and they all listen to the podcast and they all learn things from each other on the podcast. So it's a great sort of mastermind brain dump session.
Yeah, no, it's changing us. He listens to more podcasts. I started to now. It's mind blowing how much you learn, how much alike we are. I mean, how much alike we all are as business owners. It can be painting, it can be marketing, it could be anything, but it's just mindsets. Like always looking for what it's coming up. Like, how do you place yourself in there? So
I think that's a great point, because every interview that we've had, every guest that we've had, the story's been different. Story's been really different. And how they got there is always a bit different. What they're focused on is a bit different, but the mindset, there are consistent themes, this sales oriented mindset, this willingness to embrace challenge, this willingness to sort of face the unknown, build the airplane on the way down. It comes up again and again and again. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, or you're never going to be on this podcast, right? You're just never going to get to that level if you don't.
Yeah, no, thank you. I feel honored. Woo, we made it.
Hey, you passed the million and you didn't see it, but you can look. You're on the pod. You're on the Painter Marketing Mastermind pod. You can see.
Oh man, no,
you made it.
No, but see, honestly, a lot of things like this is, like I said, I'm pretty sure I speak for both of us. We were nervous. This is something new for us. Don't know what to expect. A lot of times it's like we don't feel like why us, like I don't think we do anything different than anyone else does, but it really gives you a whole different mindset. Like for us now, like I want to look more into podcasts. I want to look more into why you guys do this, just because it just triggers something in your mind, and it's how it's that going to help us back in our business.
I love that.
Definitely going to help us a lot. So
I love that. I think there's a great opportunity to do stuff like that, become a thought leader in the industry. I mean, I think you guys, with your mission of wanting to loop in the Hispanic community, the PCA and education, and kind of giving them opportunity, I think there's massive opportunity for some sort of podcast or something in that realm.
Yeah, I think definitely going to be looking into it. Finding the time is very we'll make it happen.
Build it on the way down. Just Just say you're gonna watch the podcast, set the date, and you'll figure out the rest as you go.
Hey man, we have a 6-hour flight on Tuesday, so it's a good time to start.
There it is, plan it all out. Yeah, and you can always reach out to me with questions too about
No,
the setup and everything like that.
No, man, I'm really thankful for you really keeping us in mind and reaching out to us. Like I said, the last few months have been really great to us. We've been in touch with quite a different people, and what we hear from them is we're like, is that what they think of us? Like seriously? But it feels good. It's rewarding. It gives us the fuel we need to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so I have two more questions for you guys.
Yes,
One
sir.
is, how do you see the painting industry changing in the future, or do you see it changing in the future?
How do I see it? Or do I
Well,
see it?
changing, so it has changed if you notice, right? So a few years back, it was more like you need a professional to do this. You need someone to come and paint your house. And so what I've seen the last few years is a trending into like you can do it yourself. Like there's so much more information. So by you putting yourself on a podcast, on YouTube videos, and I've seen people,
Social
we've seen
media.
people that have blown up by not even being a long time painter, but it's just having a unique approach to it. And so, and I guess I see it going that way, more animated, more like, you have to have a presence online or on some kind of video as opposed to before. I mean, advertisement, we don't do phone calls, advertisement, or not even emails anymore. What is your take on that?
You guys don't do emails?
Oh, like, oh no, like, how like
Oh, in the
promotion,
future.
people will send out massive emails and
Oh, like email marketing, you're saying?
yes, exactly.
Yeah, I don't, email marketing has been supposedly dead for a very long time.
Yeah.
Email marketing is a tricky thing, but I don't think it's dead. I don't really think it's going away anytime soon.
Okay.
But in terms of what you're saying about kind of influencing, being an influencer of sorts, or being very active on YouTube and other social media platforms, yeah, 100%. I 100% agree. I think that there's been a shift, sort of a shift to where yeah, you don't that you don't open the yellow pages, right? It's not like that. You don't find the comment. I mean, that shift has very much brought opportunity, like you said, to new painters, to new entrants, that if you come in and you educate, you lead with value, you provide value first. It's called a slang term, I guess, is edutainment. So you kind of educate people on entertaining them, then yeah, you can really become a thought leader and really respected in your industry and ultimately charge premium prices that way. I don't think it's going to make a lot of sense for a lot of current painting company owners, but I think some people, especially younger generations, are going to find a lot of success that way.
Yeah, we've seen that, and we want to be. I mean, we're not that young, but we feel that we can still be part of it, and so it's how can you adjust to the changes, I guess. So if we want to be a business in 5 years, 10 years that is going to run on its own, we got to be able to implement these things too, because 10 years from now it might be completely different. So we got to be able. The business has to be able to adjust and move towards those directions, I believe.
And also grow within like the new techniques and new
Yeah.
products.
Sorry, I thought Patty was feeding you guys a line there.
No, it was actually Isabel.
Oh, Isabel. Okay. And then my last question for you guys: do you have any advice for the owners of smaller painting companies, or maybe painting companies near your size? What advice do you have for them if they're looking to grow?
Education is key. Honestly, I know it sounds cliched and everybody probably is going to say the same, but you have to evolve and you have to educate yourself, because you have to be better than what you are right now. Because if you have the same mentality and same education that you have as of right now, then it's not gonna, then you can't move forward. So you have to break out of that comfort zone again, how we talked about, and seek new ventures, whatever that may be, whatever your interest is, but you have to get out of your comfort zone and find new new horizons, I will say, right?
Yeah.
That's what I really feel in our business.
And not to get discouraged, because sometimes it might be like hard. Sometimes you might feel like, I mean, for sometimes we're like, I don't know, we feel like we're doing a lot of things, but we're stuck in the same place. And then, we didn't see it. Like, no, we're making a progress. We're moving forward. It's the small little changes that, we keep adding them. We keep adding them, implementing those systems and stuff. And, down the road, it's like, we done quite a bit. So yeah, don't just give up,
I think that's a great point. Education systems, kind of building the processes, all that stuff is really a leading indicator of success. You don't do it and then the next day, all of a sudden you're at 2 million. Do it, and the next day you're in the same spot that you were in, and you question whether it made sense. And it takes time for that stuff to work.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. And so, us in our industry, most of the painters, they become a contractor because they're tired of working for someone else. They want to open their own business. We've had a couple guys in our business that had left, and now, a year or so after, they realize that it's not as easy. They had in their mind like, oh, I'm gonna go on my own, I'm gonna make a lot of money, and I'm gonna have all the time in the world. They had this commercial the other day where it said that he got tired of his 9 to 5. He goes, I got tired of my 9 to 5, and then I went and started my business. Now I work 24/7. So it's like, because it becomes.
If you're tired before, prepare to be a lot more tired now.
Yeah. Right. But understanding that, it takes work, and you have to find, first of all, where you want to go. What do you want to achieve in the business? If you have a goal. If you have a goal, work towards that. If you don't have a goal, then you just don't know where you're going, right? I mean, you get up on your car, you say, okay, I'm going to San Francisco. All right, you put San Francisco in your car and it takes you there, right? But if you just get in your car and you drive, well, you don't know where you're going. So I guess that's
you have to know where you're going. You have to see yourself.
I love that. Yeah, have some direction, have an end goal, and be able to see that end goal, even though others around you might not be able to see it.
Yeah, it's true. And it's amazing what you will learn just by listening to like-minded people and people who have gone through these issues. If you sit down and listen for an hour, man, it'll change. It'll change. I mean, so much more than you can even imagine.
Yeah, the overnight success thing is a myth, I think. There's that iceberg. What is that? The iceberg meme, where what people see is the little bit on top, and then there's the massive iceberg is under it. That's what it. Yeah,
it's true. It doesn't happen overnight. And even honestly, and I think growing is not the hardest part. I think really keeping and sustaining a certain level, I think it turns to be harder, because it's easy to get somewhere, but then now you have expectations, you have to meet deadlines, and that's where the challenge begins. Yep. If you can't do that just as fast as you got there, you're going to come back down, because you have to be able to do that.
Yep. Yeah, that's a super good point. Well, guys, Juan, Jose, I really appreciate you guys coming on. This was definitely a unique perspective, and I appreciate all the value you guys added here today.
Hey, Brandon, again, from us, thank you so much for having us. We will get to see you next week.
In Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando.
It's an honor being here.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys coming, and I'm looking forward to meeting you guys in person next week.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, you have a good one, and then we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. If you want to learn more about the topics we discussed in this podcast and how you can use them to grow your painting business, visit paintermarketingpros.com/podcast for free training, as well as the ability to schedule a personalized strategy session for your painting company. Again, that URL is paintermarketingpros.com/podcast. Hey there, painting company owners. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Give us your feedback. Let us know how we did. And also, if you're interested in taking your painting business to the next level, make sure you visit the Painter Marketing Pros website at paintermarketingpros.com to learn more about our services. You can also reach out to me directly by emailing me at brandon@paintermarketingpros.com, and I can give you personalized advice on growing your painting business. Until next time, keep growing.